What's up, you guys? The market is up pretty big right now. Nasdaq's up 1.14%, S&P 500 is up 0.6%, Tesla is actually up 0.5%. Nothing crazy, but we are going to go over Tesla and if we could potentially push up and test 165 again, or if the move down to 144 is going to happen as quickly as we were expecting. We're also going to go over Amazon, which has earnings today, briefly cover Meta since Meta is pushing the market with it, up 14%, as well as much more. So hit the like button, subscribe. Check out our Discord community. It's completely free. The link is in the description. It's the easiest way to stay up to date with all of our free trades, free live streams, seminars, webinars, courses. And if you want access to all my trades once you're over there, you can go to the upgrade section. The price will increase for new members as of June 1st. So make sure you get in. You have a couple more days. So taking a look at Tesla, you can see that we're really not looking too hot. We're still down here at 155. Nothing really has changed. We've had a couple of these attempts, which is why I always tell you guys, whatever time frame you're trading on, the trend is your friend, and you really never want to bet against it until we get confirmation over major resistance levels, or at least over a trend level. And so you can see that, yes, every single time that we, actually I should go back, there we go. Every single time that we have started to push up, started to turn green on the Heikin-Ashi, every single time we've looked like there was going to be some sort of a potential relief on this 1 hour, what ends up happening is we get a bit of a rally, a bit of a consolidation, and then the trade kind of just gets flushed out. We make a lower low and then continue from there. And so what we would be looking for, if you're somebody who wants to go long, or if you're somebody who just prays that Tesla doesn't drill its way down to $144 in the next week, what you're going to want to see is a potential move and hold over this resistance level. Now, I didn't take a position long, but this could have been a decent entry, just these three candles here, or will this be on the 25th, so 2 days ago. But as soon as we start to push underneath this 5 SMA, as soon as we start to sell off, this is your trigger to exit. So looking at this, really not the best. But there are a couple of things that are happening here. Number one, bullish divergence is starting to set up. Like I said before, if we're just continuing a downtrend, it doesn't mean too much to me. I don't put too much into it, but it is something to take into consideration. And a bullish divergence occurs when the stock is making a lower low, but the RSI is making a higher low. You can see that every single time the stock was making a lower low, RSI is making higher low. That's a bullish divergence, and it is a bullish sign. It doesn't mean that it's a buy. It just means that this potential downward movement that we've been seeing, this downtrend on Tesla specifically, could be weakening. It doesn't mean that it's just going to completely recover. It just means that it could be weakening. What we would be looking for is a break over this resistance level. This is how a descending wedge would set up, but just because it's a descending wedge doesn't mean it needs to work. We saw a descending wedge a couple of days ago, and we completely rejected at 162 and moved our way down. But this is something just to keep an eye on if you're somebody short term. Bigger time frame here on the daily chart is that we need to see the push back up over 170. Price levels get broken on small and big time frames, but what we look for is confirmation of a close underneath of them. Now, even though we had a bullish divergence on the 1 hour, something to note on the bigger time frame is we do not have a bullish divergence. As we're making lower lows here on the daily chart, you can see that our RSI is also making lower lows. So while there's a bullish divergence on the small time frame, it doesn't quite mean that we have a bullish divergence on the big time frame. So looking at this here, if we're unable to push back up over at least 160 within the next couple of days and then test 170, I still think that we're going to continue to fill this gap down to 146. With that being said, a lot of people have asked me, and I'm going to explain this in further detail once I hopefully see Tesla recover a little bit, but a lot of people have been asking me, do I still plan to open up my hedge position? So I had a hedge on my June calls, if you guys remember earlier last week before earnings, which earnings were not well, so my calls did very poorly. My hedge was great. I probably should have continued to hold that hedge now. I closed it out because of how close the expiration was. I didn't want to continue to hold something that I was up like 110% on when it expires in just a couple of weeks. With that being said, though, I should have probably just rolled that position out because I want to open a hedge on my long-term position, but I feel that right now the RVR is just not the best. If I were to come in and enter here at like 155 to go short, like we spoke about before, just up to resistance is 170. That's an 8% loss. So if I were to set a technical, potential break of pattern, have to be a break over 170 and a hold. So let's just say 175. Well, it's already a 12% potential loss just to fill this gap down to 140, which is about an 11% potential gain. So obviously, in my opinion, I don't really think that that's worth it as far as the risk versus reward. What I'm hoping will happen is that we will see Tesla push our way back up to 160, push our way up to 168, and then probably reject here and make our way down. But what I'm planning on doing is entering my hedge position in probably 3 different levels. First level would be somewhere here around like 157. The reason for that is that's a pullback and a test on the 5 SMA halfway to that level. The second level would be actually at the 5 SMA, I should say. And then my third level would be up here at like 164, with then an average being somewhere around 160 and a stop loss set at like 170. But I'm not entirely sure. I want to wait for this pullback, but I don't want to be greedy in the sense of waiting for the perfect time to go short, because I do think that ultimately it's looking pretty solid that we're going to continue to drop down to 140. But I'm just being patient. And remember, guys, cash is always a position. Being patient is never going to hurt you. So overall, I'm waiting on Tesla.